Today it's time for another How Good Is, but we're gonna start with something special. We're going to start with a little bit of a demonstration, because basically this entire video will just be about one specific thing, and instead of just talking about how she can do this specific thing, I'm just gonna go in and I'm just gonna show you what I'm talking about. So basically what you do is you take the anime Yachiyo, person we're talking about today, you go into Solar Mirrors battle, you activate your active, and you just kill everything. It's like 78,000 right there. We've got another 87,000 over here. We've got the tank Sayaka got hit with an 81,000, and she has variable, so she can do that against every element. She has anti-evade passively, so no one can evade her, and she has anti-provoke, so that Sayaka couldn't have even provoked. All of that passively without needing any specific Memoria. The only Memoria I'm using is for damage ups. I'm only using pure damage Memoria. So that's a little bit of a demonstration. I could already cut the video right here and be like, hey guys, that's anime Yachiyo. That's anime Yachiyo right there. If you like what you see, then yeah, go ahead and roll for her. And what I just showed was like a team that actually might not be the easiest to fight otherwise. But even for anime Yachiyo, it's completely trivial. There was a 0% chance that team could have done anything except guard, but only two characters in the entire game have guard SE, which is Momoko and Sayaka, I think. Anyway, point is, this is an attacker character that is extremely good at one-shotting people in mirrors, as you might have just seen. Can she do a bunch of other things as well? Maybe, let's find out. So she has 3 blasters, which importantly are all in the same direction, so as you just saw, I was able to attack every single tile in that entire battle. So no, it doesn't actually matter what sort of lineup the enemy has, where they put their girls on which formation. Absolutely doesn't matter. You have 3 blasters all pointing in the same direction, meaning you can just hit all of them very easily. She also has insanely high attack. I think she's only like 50 attack behind the highest attack character in the game, so she's basically all the way up there as the highest attack. That's pretty good. Her personal is blast damage up, damage increase passively. We've seen that before. It's this one. It's the Mirror's Memoria from the special mirror shop. It's basically just the exact same, which makes sense because it's also Yachiyo Memoria, just as her personal, which is good because this is a good Memoria. Of course, using it as a personal, you will lose out on the extra 1000 attack, which actually makes quite a bit of a difference. But if you don't have the Mirror's Memoria, using this is fine. Would you might want to use the Mirror's Memoria and this Memoria at the same time? No, don't do that. It's terrible. Why? We'll see in a bit. But actually, I could already tell you that you're getting way too much damage up. This is a source of damage up, and this is a source of damage up. You need some attack up as well, right? You need some attack up. The other Memoria that you use should be specifically a Memoria that gives like 25% attack up or something. But yeah, it's already a really good personal. So if you have a rather fresh account that maybe doesn't have that many good Memoria, then you can still do what I just did. And this is probably also another really amazing thing about this. If you looked at the Memoria that I had, you'd be like, oh man, I don't have these super powerful Memoria that you have. You can just use a personal, because a personal is already pretty darn good for exactly what I just did right there. And as the second Memoria, just use whatever more Memoria that you have that gives the highest attack up percentage bonus. So yeah, you can already do what I did, even on a fresh account, right? Even on an absolutely fresh account that you started this day, you can still do ridiculous stuff that I just did, just with a little bit of lower numbers. But it would still work. You would still kill that Sayaka that I just killed, which is, you know, kind of absurd. Solar Mirrors is saved forever. Solo Mokyu had some drawbacks, because of course Solo Mokyu you need specifically an anti-evade Memoria. You could get screwed over by provoke, you can get screwed over by guard. And Yachiyo can still get screwed over by guard, but it's harder. And most notably, depending on enemy formation, Solo Mokyu actually has trouble sometimes hitting everything. Solo Mokyu does not have the correct disc setup to hit every single tile, no matter the enemy formation. But Aniyachi can always hit every single enemy tile, no matter the formation. No one can get away from this. So that's pretty good. Moving on though, connect, it gives blast damage up and defense pierce. I mean, the defense pierce it can maybe sometimes be nice, or maybe some 100 evils or EX challenge quests where they decide to have an enemy with ridiculous amounts of defense, so yeah, okay, I guess. But overall, this connect, it's not that amazing and it doesn't really matter too much, I guess. You're mostly going to play a solo or for farming where you might not even connect that much. The magia, I mean, are you going to use magia on her? Maybe actually. So what does it do? It goes attack up to self, defense pierce to self, and variable. Oh, I've got variable. Oh. I'm going to go into the SE in just a bit, but just know that at least with this already being on magia, you can actually get an infinite variable combo, which is really good. I think you can also get an infinite variable combo with solo Moki, I'm not quite sure on that. And of course the doppel is just more of that, more attack up, more defense pierce. At least this time it's 100%. I've seen characters in the past that have something like defense pierce here, and it doesn't get to 100% on doppel, which is just sad, or like crit. If you're doppling and you have an effect like defense pierce or crit or ignore damage cut, just make it 100%, right? Just make it 100%. Why not? And as well also variable. The actual difference between magia and doppel is not that big. I mean, yeah, you get defense pierce to 100% from 60. You get the attack up 5 turns to 3 turns, but it's not that big of a difference overall, so it ultimately doesn't really matter too much. It's one of the very few characters where it really doesn't actually matter that much if you get magia or doppel, right? If you're sitting at over 100 MP at the start of a turn and your variable is running out, just use another magia to keep that variable buff up. That's more important. Like, the most important part of the magia and doppel is keeping the variable buff up, and if you have to do a magia instead of a doppel to keep the buff up, you don't really care. You don't really care much about that. It's still gonna be totally fine. We went to the spirit enhancement. It's probably, even though I've just said a whole bunch of interesting stuff about her, the spirit enhancement, even aside from, you know, the stuff I've already mentioned and also mentioned in the news, that she gives herself 3 turns of variable and 3 turns of anti-evade and anti-rogue at the start of each battle, which is absolutely fucking insane. The rest of her spirit enhancement is also kind of stacked. The rest of her spirit enhancement is also pretty darn fucking good, actually. She has the same thing that every Yachiyo has, which is the inherited protection, which is really good if you're playing a team game. However, this is the least team game Yachiyo out of every single Yachiyo, because she just wants to blast everything down herself. So you might not even get that much use out of it. More importantly though, 2 nodes of blast damage up, that's more than Homura has. She also gets, and this is the interesting bit, she gets Aqua attribute attack up. That is actually really good. That's just free 7.5% attack up in a different pot than the normal attack up, so it's always on top of that. Even if you're already maxed on attack up, you still get this on top of that because it's Aqua attack. So that's pretty good. And because there's some damage cut, because we can't be safe enough, right? You get 10% damage cut right here. Your active gives yourself 70% damage cut. So yeah, with active you also have like 80% damage cut. How fucking good is that, man? And yeah, the active also gives 40% blast damage up. Now here's the thing. You have 40% from active blast damage up. You have 33% from the adept passively, meaning that during the turn you use your active, you're already at 73% blast up. It only goes to 100%, so you can only have on top of that 100%, 27% more blast up to get to 100%, meaning that if you had a Memoria that gave you 30% blast damage up, for example, you would be overcapping. 3 of those percent would actually go nowhere. Oh, that's kind of sad. So you can actually read this as 27% blast up right here, because you can't even make use of the full 30%, because she just caps that easily. It's ridiculous. It's still fine though. It's still fine. It's only for that one turn, but I mean, if you're playing solo mirrors with her, which is what 99% of people are gonna do with her, then yeah, it doesn't really matter if you're losing 3% of your blast damage up from overcapping, right? But then it's good that you get damage increase, because that still stacks on top of that. But that means that even with that, just with this personal, okay, just with this personal, turn 1 in mirrors, you have not just variable anti-evade and anti-provoke, you also have 125% total damage bonus, which is fucking insane. And 7.5% attack up also on top of that, because why the fuck not? Why wouldn't we have all of this already? I could even do some maths right now to tell you how much damage this would actually do against an enemy with like decently low defense. I could say an enemy has like 5,000 defense, how much damage which you actually do. Just one slot with personal level 100 with some SE and at least all of those nodes in here. I assume that's all the number that I would spit out at you is probably already gonna be way above 40,000. And I do think that even if you just roll her one slot, let's say you have, oh, so nice, can you hear the ambulance out there? That's what happens to everyone who dares stand against Aniyachi in mirrors, at least when Aniyachi is on the offense. But yeah, I think if you have a fresh account, I almost want to do this, but it's gonna take way too much time for something that I already know it would be this way. But if you start a fresh account just today, just roll for a one-slot Aniyachi, get her to a level 100, give her all of these slots in here, all these SE slots for all of these bonuses, and max the rest into attack. And you just take a personal, right? All of this stuff you can do day one on a fresh account. You can do that. You can get someone to level 100 on a fresh account nowadays. You just have all that stuff in Labyrinth or whatever, and you can just farm that. And I think you could already one-shot every single enemy in solo mirrors for the rest of your lifetime playing this game. Not even Tank Sudachi will be able to survive this. The only one who might potentially be able to survive that might be Surf Striker, but I think the ambulance is already coming for her as well. I did a test. Surf Striker has passive barrier, I think it was passive at least. It actually has a barrier, which means that you actually have to do a lot more damage, and she also has a ridiculous amount of defense. And I think the Surf Striker I was fighting against had like max HP bonus defense as well. And I still hit her for over 50,000 past barrier with the Yachiyo that I just showed you. So, damn. Fucking damn. So yeah, if you want to solve your normal mirrors forever, get Yachiyo. I don't think I can say anything else. If you want to solve solo mirrors forever, yeah, get her. That's it. You're done. You're done with solo mirrors forever. You want to play ranked? In ranked mirrors, you might not be that amazing for scoring, but if you want to do ranked mirrors just for getting the wins, like let's say you don't care about the ranking that you get, you really don't care about the ranking, you can still just do solo Aniyachi and just get all the wins. You can still just farm wins and get all the mirrors medallions from the wins. Isn't that great? Okay, I think I've talked enough about mirrors. What else does she actually do? Does it actually matter if she does anything else, to be honest? Okay, I need to say one thing. Because she gets 3 turns of variable and anti-event and all that kind of stuff, because she has so high attack and all that kind of stuff, she is really good for farming PvE as well. Also because she has perfect coverage. If you farm event stages, for example, let's say you farm event challenge stages, she is actually really fucking good for that as well. But most of the time when you're farming event stages, you just want to use as many blast discs as possible. And it doesn't really matter just how much you maximize damage, more so you just want to have the maximum amount of blasts. So actually it's still better for PvE farming in most cases. That said, Aniyachi is like number 2, right? Out of every single character in the game, for PvE farming, actually number 1 for having 4 blasts, and that's the entire reason. And then 2 would probably be Aniyachi. Why? The passive variable just means you can throw her at anything. You can actually just throw her on any quest. Take 2 Aniyachis, they're both gonna have variable, they're both gonna have perfect coverage with their 3 blast discs, and they're just gonna smash everything dead immediately, which is kind of insane. And you can't even get screwed over by evades, because sometimes you might have enemies that have evade. No, not with this. Well, that's pretty good. That's pretty good in that sense. What else is there? Theoretically, could you put her on Kimochi? I mean, I guess you could maybe do some solo Kimochi strategy, right? Solo Kimochi, you could, you have 3 turns of variable. If the Kimochi has 3 tiles in a vertical position that you can hit with a blast every single time. With 7 MP blast salutation, you get at least 21 per blast, right? You get hit on your turn as well for bonus MP, but you get 21, 42, 63 MP per turn if you can hit 3 tiles, plus, like I said, some bonus for getting hit in the face, meaning that after 2 turns you already have enough for a magia, and after 3 turns you have enough for a double. Isn't that funny? You only need to refresh your variable every 3 turns with a magia, so you can actually, on solo Yachiyo, a solo Aniyachi, have permanent variable for the entire fight. Isn't that pretty good? So you can you could theoretically put Solo Aniyachi on any Kimochi, whatever you want, and she's gonna perform with basically the exact same level of efficiency. How much damage is he actually gonna do? Maybe not that much. I mean, she doesn't have that much magia up. She only gives herself attack up through buffs. So you only have 1 turn of your active. So overall, she's probably not gonna actually do that much damage against the Kimochi. But it might be enough to get yourself like SS rank or something for like the passive rewards that you get at the end. So it's something to consider, right? It's something to consider. If you have absolutely fucking nothing on a Kimochi, Solo Aniyachi might be able to at least eke out a base amount of damage. So you have some base amount of damage that you can do by just Unga Bunga using blast discs into magia and doppel. But what if the Kimochi doesn't have 3 vertically lined up spaces, but only 2 vertical line-up spaces? It still works out. The math still works out. You might not have doppel after 3 turns, but you don't need to have double. You only need to have magia after 3 turns. So it still works out, right? And basically every single Kimochi has at least 2 vertical, right? That you can hit at once with blast. But of course you do less damage, because every single one of your blasters is going to hit only 2 tiles instead of 3. So what else is there to say? Not much, actually. Some whales are even going to play her in ranked. So overall, to put a bow on it, she solves solo mirrors forever, right? There's no tank in this entire game with no setup of Memoria that survives against her. The only thing that could is theoretically like a Nagisa, like a normal Nagisa, not even Valentine's Nagisa, but normal Nagisa, because normal Nagisa's personal has Endure, right? So a normal Nagisa with personal would actually endure the first hit and not die immediately. But if you have a hit left at the end, it doesn't really matter. But even then, anything else aside from that just dies. You cannot tank. You cannot tank those hits. It's not possible. I don't think there's any character in the game that can tank any of those hits without having to rely on Endure. So yeah, she solves solo mirrors. She's the second best PvE farmer in the game, but if you already have Ashley, you already are totally golden with PvE farming, and you might not need another PvE farm. That's the thing, you only need a single character for farming PvE stages. If you already have Ashley, you do solo Ashley with probably Ashley support for farming PvE. Aniyachi, if you have her, you're not going to put her in, like it doesn't matter. Kimochi, she has like a baseline amount of damage that is very easy to do. Unga Bunga, just hit buttons and you're going to do a really high amount of damage just because she has variable that you can keep up all the time. And you might have maybe some tournament applications. In ranked mirrors, she can at least spam wins for you, so you can at least make sure that you win every single battle in ranked mirrors, but you're not going to get many points. So yeah, she has many really good applications. I have heard some people say, like, I actually know some whales who say they aren't going to pull for her. Not hyper whales, just like standard level whales. Mostly because, like I said, if you don't care about solo mirrors and you already have Ashley, there's not much you're gaining out of her. But if you don't have Ashley, or if you really want to solve solo mirrors forever, fucking go for her, man. And like I said, the bonus point for the exact opposite players, like not the whales, but the opposite of players of whales, is like very early account free-to-play players. Like I said, like 90% of the powers that she has, you get from just having her, because her personal is fucking great, her spirit enhancement is great by itself, and you don't actually need much more than that. She just works by herself with very low resources, very low investment unit as well. So yeah, that's pretty amazing, pretty amazing. And then she comes with this in her gacha. This is her gacha Memoria. It's not terrible. You probably do not want to actually use this on her, because like I said, if you're using her, you're probably just one-shotting mirrors and you're gonna way overcap on blast damage already, so it kind of doesn't do much. That said, overall, I mean, it's fine. It's fine. I would just like an attack up Memoria for this, like blast damage and attack up, because damage cut is maybe not the best partner for this, to be honest. If you're blasting, if you have a character that just blasts all day, every day, and you want to give him this for all the blast damage, you probably aren't going to make much use of the defensives, right? Because this is super duper aggressive. Why put the defensive on something that is super duper aggressive? Just be more aggressive, right? Anyway, it's still pretty alright. It's still pretty alright. The Tsuruno Flower Field Memoria has like 35% blast damage up, and that's the only effect. This one has 45 and damage cut, so budget wise it's pretty darn good. It also has a really high base attack, so yeah, that's quite alright. so it's at least pretty alright. That was that, though. I'm done. I've got enough. I have, like, as you saw, I have a 2 slot on my main account. I have an alt account that I also pulled through on like 3 slot. That alt account has like only welfare Memoria, and it also does basically the same amount of damage, right? Like I said. But that was that. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, and I'll see you guys next time.